Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mac here. Welcome back to another great video. Today, I've got something fun. There's a new update for OS X, macOS out there. It's OS Mojave, and one of the coolest things that was included in the update is like this great new dark mode. And what that does basically is when you enable it, which you can do by coming to System Preferences, hitting General, and then switching over to dark mode, it's going to turn everything on the computer like dark. This means like Safari, the Finder, as you can see here, the Mail app turns dark. Anything you can think of, notes, passwords, a lot of third-party apps are supporting this. One of my favorite writing apps of all time, Ulysses, that I use every day, supports it, which is awesome, even though the D14 theme has a bug in it. But I got a little annoyed a few days ago because every time that you want to switch between the two themes, the light and the dark, you have to, System Preferences, come and find, this little spot here in the settings where you can swap, which is okay, but it's a little annoying. I was much more interested in having something like a keyboard shortcut, or even better, having just my computer switch between the dark mode and the light mode automatically at a certain time of day. Now you're going to need three things. The first is Automator, which if you have a Mac, you already have, so great. You're also going to need the Apple Script editor, and also if you have a Mac, you already have that too. The third thing you're going to need is a fun little app called GeekTools, which you may not actually have, but if you follow a link in the description, you can just install it really quickly by dragging it into the applications folder. And then we'll just save that for later. So what we'll do just to get started is we're going to create a new Apple script. So we'll come over to the Apple Script editor window here, create a new document, and we're going to get like a fun window where we can type anything. I'm also going to go ahead and open up my documents here because that's where we're going to be saving the script. You do need to pick a spot where you can physically have the script, just sit on your computer. But when we're in the Apple Script window, this is a really cool, fun app that you should mess with because even if you don't know how to write code or anything, which I barely know how to do, you can just record actions taking place on your computer and it will create a script for you. But in this case, I'm going to push the limits of my knowledge a little bit here and we're going to write out a script. And it goes a little something, actually just copy and paste it from the description, but it's going to be tell application system events tell appearance preferences set dark mode to not dark mode, end tell, and end tell. Now if we go ahead and hit run here, it's going to test the script. It'll let us know if there's any errors, and if not, we should be switching between light and dark mode. So we'll go ahead and hit run, and we get an error. What's the error? Oh, I spelled preferences wrong. That's generally the problem I end up having. Preferences. Is that right? So when the script does work, it's going to go ahead and line everything out here like an actual script. And when we hit run, it should swap in between the two different modes. So what we'll go ahead and do is save this script, which you do just by file save or Command S, into our documents, and we're going to call it dark_mode. Call it whatever you want. Just spaces are going to make it a little trickier later in the video. So try to avoid spaces, or if you want one, do the underscore dark mode. Now, the next thing we want to do is come over to Automator, and what we're doing now is creating the keyboard shortcut. So we're going to create a new Automator document, and we're going to pick this quick action option here. I believe that in some other versions of Automator, it's called a contextual workflow. So either contextual workflow or quick action is going to be the third option here that looks like, the gear. And then we'll go ahead and click choose. Now, what we want to do here is we're going to set the workflow receives current to no input. And then over here in our library, we want to find the Apple Script trigger, which the easiest way to do that is just to search for the app. And then we have the option to run the Apple Script. And now we get a nice little sample Apple Script. We're going to open up our Apple Script that we already made, and then just copy and paste. Hit run, and again, it's going to see if everything works. Does. And now if we go ahead and do file, save, we're going to give this a name, call it dark mode. Next step, we're going to go ahead and open up System Preferences again. This is the last time we're going to have to be in this window, so this is exciting. We'll go ahead and click on keyboard, come over to shortcuts, and we're going to have an option to basically use this workflow. So if we come down to the services tab, we're going to want to look for our workflow we just created called dark mode, and it should be pretty much all the way at the very bottom. Under general, find the option, make sure this check is enabled, and then add a shortcut. And here we have the option to type in any keyboard shortcut we want. I've been using Alt Command X, which worked pretty well for me. So now if we hit Alt Command X, we're going to be switching between light and dark mode, which is pretty exciting. One thing to know is that every time you open up a new app, I'm going to open up my Mail app just for a second. And if I'm like in the Mail app and I use the keyboard shortcut, the first time that I do it, I'm going to get a window that's going to ask for permission. So I have to enable it, enable this particular app, the Mail app, to have permission to, change the system preferences. It's complicated to explain what's going on, and I also don't really totally understand it. But every time you open up a new app, you're going to have to give it permission the first time you use that keyboard shortcut in the app. Okay, so the next and final step here, and if you've been on my YouTube channel before, you might already know where we're going, because I made a video doing something pretty similar to this a while ago, basically 2 years ago, which is where that handy little app GeekTools comes in. So now with the GeekTools, what we're going to do is set up a script that will basically run our handy Apple script at various times a day. So if you remember where we put the Apple script, we put the Apple script in our documents, and it's very specific that it's very important that you remember exactly what folder you put it in and what name you gave it. So in our case, I dropped the script into my documents folder, and I named it dark_mode.script. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that name with the file extension and everything. And then once we're inside of GeekTools, what we're going to do is create a new shell just by basically clicking on it and drag it onto the desktop. And so now what we're going to want to do is set up a script. And now we have two options that we're going to want to pay attention to here. The first is the refresh rate, which I'm going to set to just like 5,000 for now, or maybe 4,000, whatever. And then we have the actual command that we're going to be running. So right here, you're going to hit this, I don't know what it's called. Anyways, open that up so you have the option to create a script and edit it. And you're going to, again, I'm going to be typing, but you just go ahead and copy from the description. It's osascript. This is basically a command for GeekTools that is going to tell the app to run our Apple script. So what you want to do is /documents/dark. Oh, that's right. We can just copy and paste in the name of the app. We'll save that. And if you did everything right, it should go ahead and run the script flawlessly. And if we set the refresh rate to like 1 second or something, we're going to have a real problem because it's going to just screw itself up. My CPU usage just jumped up crazy. So if we set it to like 5 seconds or something, you can kind of get the idea of what's happening. Every 5 seconds, this app is going to, in the background, run this Apple script, and then the Apple script will talk to the computer and be like, hey, go ahead and trigger dark mode. So that's what we're looking at. Now, obviously, we don't want this to run every 5 seconds. That would be a huge mess. So I'm going to set it again to like 5,000 for a second, and then we'll do a little bit of math to figure out what our number actually needs to be. So basically, if you want this to change once a day, every 12 hours, we'll do 12 times 60 minutes in an hour times 60 seconds in a minute, and that's our number, 43,200. And so we can go ahead and just set that, 42,300. And this is only really going to work if you set it at the right time of day. So say sunset for you is like 7 p.m. If you set this up at 7 p.m., that's when it's going to refresh every day. We can close out of GeekTools, and it's going to ask us if we want to disable our scripts, which we do not want to do. And if we do, the GeekTool will keep refreshing our Apple script, but we don't actually have to keep the app open, which is awesome. But that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying your handy new keyboard shortcut, which I definitely am. I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you did like the video, feel free to like and subscribe and all that. I don't actually feel like you need to subscribe for this, but yeah, whatever. Thanks for watching.